Hello, and welcome to Shakespeare 2020 Los Angeles. Shakespeare 2020 LA is a division of Shakespeare Project 2020, which is a worldwide challenge that was created by Ian Desher to read the entire Shakespeare canon in the year of 2020. Shakespeare 2020 LA is comprised of Los Angeles local professional actors. We meet as a group to read and workshop the plays as scheduled by Shakespeare Project 2020. We also perform staged readings at Los Angeles public libraries, which we look forward to resuming when we're all able to meet together again in person. Today we'll be reading William Shakespeare's Othello, and our players are Jason Rennie, Christopher Carbo, Martin Hillier, Taylor Marr, Ron Dorn in the role of Othello, Sasha Venn, Cameron Prince, Megan Wells, Allison Coe, and I'm Mary Carrig, and our technical director is Jason Rennie. So please enjoy William Shakespeare's Othello.
Act 1, Scene 1, enter Rodrigo and Iago.
Hush, never tell me. I take it much unkindly that thou, Iago, who hast had my purse as if the strings were thine, shouldst know of this.
Splud, but you'll not hear me. If ever I dream of such a matter, abhor me.
Thou toldst me thou didst hold him in thy hate.
Despise me if I do not. 3 great ones of the city in personal suit to make me his lieutenant, off cap to him. And by my faith of man, I know my price. I am worth no worse a place than he, as loving his own pride and purposes, evades them with a bombast circumstance, horribly stuffed with epithets of war, and in conclusion, non-suits my mediators. For, certes, says he, I have already chose my officer. And what was he? Forsooth, a great arithmetician, one Michael Cassio, a Florentine, a fellow almost damned in a fair wight that never set a squadron in the field, nor the division of a battle knows more than a spinster, unless the bookish theoric wherein the togaed consuls can produce as masterly as he. Mere prattle without practice is all his soldiership. But he, sir, had the election, and I, of whom his eyes had seen the proof at Rhodes, at Cyprus, and on other grounds, christened and heathen, must be believed and calmed by debtor and creditor. This countercaster, he in good time must his lieutenant be, and I, God bless the mark, his moorship's ancient.
By heaven, I rather would have been his hangman.
Why, there's no remedy. 'Tis the curse of service. Preferment goes by letter and affection, not by old gradation, where each second stood heir to the first. Now, sir, be judge yourself, whether I in any just term am affin to love the Moor.
I would not follow him then.
Oh, sir, but content you. I follow him to serve my turn upon him. We cannot all be masters, nor all masters cannot be truly followed. You shall mark many a duteous and knee-crooking knave that, doting on his own obsequious bondage, wears out his time much like his master's us, for naught but provender, and when he's old, cashiered. Whip me such honest knaves. Others there are, who trimmed in the forms and visages of duty, keep yet their hearts attending on themselves, and throwing but shows of service on their lords, do well thrive by them, and when they have lined their coats, do themselves homage. These fellows have some soul, and such a one do I profess myself. For, sir, it is as sure as you are Roderigo. Were I the Moor, I would not be Iago. In following him, I follow but myself. Heaven is my judge, not I for love and duty, but seeming so for my particular end. For when my outward action doth demonstrate the native act and figure of my heart, in compliment extern, 'tis not long after, but I will wear my heart upon my sleeve for doors to peck at. I am not what I am.
What a full fortune does the thick lips owe if he can carry thus.
Call up her father, rouse him, make after him, poison his delight, proclaim him in the streets, incense her kinsman, and though he in a fertile climate dwell, plague him with flies. though that his joy be joy, yet throw such chances of vexation on't as it may lose some colour.
Here is her father's house. I'll call aloud.
Do, with like timorous accent and dire yell, as when by night and negligence the fire is spied in populous cities.
What ho, Brabantio! Signor Brabantio, ho!
Awake! What ho, Brabantio! Thieves! Thieves! Look to your house, your daughter, your bags! Thieves! Thieves!
What is the reason of this terrible summons? What is the matter there?
Signor, is all your family within?
Are your doors locked?
Why, wherefore ask you this?
Zoon, sir, you're robbed. For shame, put on your gown. Your heart is burst. You have lost half your soul. Even now, very now, an old black ram is topping your white ewe. Arise, arise, awake the snorting citizens with the bell, or else the devil will make a grandsire of you. Arise, I say.
What, have you lost your wits?
Most reverend Signor, do you know my voice?
Not I. What are you?
My name is Rodrigo.
The worse are welcome. I have charged thee not to haunt about my doors, and honest plainness thou hast heard me say, my daughter is not for thee. And now, in madness, being full of supper and distempering draughts, upon malicious bravery, dost thou come to start my quiet.
Sir.
But thou must needs be sure my spirit and my place have in them power to make this bitter to thee.
Patience, good sir.
What tell'st thou me of robbing? This is Venice. My house is not a grange.
Most grave Brabantio, in simple and pure soul, I come to you.
Zoon, sir, you are one of those that will not serve God if the devil bid you. Because we come to do you service, and you think we are ruffians, you'll have your daughter covered with a Barbary horse. You'll have nephews neigh to you, you'll have coursers for cousins, and jennets for Germans.
What profane wretch art thou?
I am one, sir, that comes to tell you, your daughter and the Moor are now making a beast with two backs.
Thou art a villain.
You are a senator.
This thou shalt answer. I know thee, Rodrigo.
Sir, I will answer anything, but I beseech you, if to be your pleasure and most wise consent, as partly I find it is, that your fair daughter, at this odd even and dull watch of the night, transported with no worse nor better guard, but with a knave of common hire, a gondolier, to the gross clasps of a lascivious Moor. If this be known to you, and your allowance, we then have done you bold and saucy wrongs. But if you know not this, my manners tell me we have your wrong rebuke. Do not believe that from the sense of all civility, I thus would play and trifle with your reverence. Your daughter, if you have not given her leave, I say again, hath made a gross revolt, tying her duty, beauty, wit, and fortunes in an extravagant and wheeling stranger of here and everywhere. Straight satisfy yourself. If she be in her chamber or your house, let loose on me the justice of the state for thus deluding.
Strike on the tinder, ho! Give me a taper. Call up all my people. This accident is not unlike my dream. Belief of it oppresses me already. Light! I say light!
Farewell, for I must leave you. It seems not meet nor wholesome to my place to be produced, as if I shall stay against the Moor. For I do know the state. However this may gall him with some check, cannot with safety cast him, for he's embarked with such loud reason to the Cyprus wars, which even now stands in act, that, for their souls, another of his fathom they have none to lead their business. In the which regard, though I do hate him as I do hell's pains, yet for necessity of present life, I must show out a flag and sign of love, which is indeed but sign, that you shall surely find him, lead to the saggatory the raised search, and there will I be with him. So farewell.
It is too true and evil. Gone she is, and what's to come of my despised time is naught but bitterness. Now, Rodrigo, where didst thou see her? Oh, unhappy girl, with that Moor, sayest thou? Who would be a father? How didst thou know 'twas she? Oh, she deceives me past thought. What said she to you? Get more tapers. Raise all my kindred. Are they married, think you?
Truly, I think they are.
Oh, heaven, now got she out. Oh, treason of the blood. Fathers from hence, trust not your daughters' minds by what you see them act. Is there not charms by which the property of youth and maidhood may be abused? Have you not read, Roderigo, of some such thing?
Yes, sir, I have indeed.
Call up my brother. Would you had had her. Some one way, some another. Do you know where we may apprehend her in the moor?
I think I can discover him, if you please, to get good guard and go along with me.
Pray you lead on. At every house I'll call, I may command at most. Get weapons, ho! And raise some special officers of night. On, good Roderigo. I will deserve your pains.
Act 1, Scene 2, enter Othello, Iago, attendants with torches.
Though in the trade of war I have slain men, yet do I hold it very stuff of conscience to do no contrived murder. I lack iniquity sometimes to do me service. 9 or 10 times I have thought to have yerked him here under the ribs.
'Tis better as it is.
Nay, but he prated and spoke such scurvy and provoking terms against your honour, that with the little godliness I have, I did full hard forbear him. But I pray you, sir, are you fast married? Be assured of this, that the Magnifico is much beloved, and hath in effect a voice potential as double as the Duke's. He will divorce you, or put upon you what restraint or grievance the law, with all his might to enforce it on, will give him cable.
Let him do his spite. My services which I have done the signatory shall out-tongue his complaints. 'Tis yet to know which, when I know that boasting is an honor, I shall promulgate. I fetch my life, and being from men of royal siege, and my demerits may speak unbonneted to as proud a fortune as this that I have reached. For know, Iago, but that I love the gentle Desdemona, I would not my unhoused free condition put into circumspection and confine for the sea's worth. But look, what lights come yond?
Those are the raised father and his friends. You had best go in.
Not I must be found. My parts, my title, and my perfect soul shall manifest me rightly. Is it they?
Janus, I think no.
The servants of the Duke and my lieutenant, the goodness of the night upon you, friends. What is the news?
The Duke does greet you, General, and he requires your post-haste appearance, e'en on the instant.
What is the matter, think you?
Something from Cyprus, as I may divine? It is a business of some heat. The galleys have sent a dozen sequent messengers this very night at one another's heels, and many of the consuls, raised and met, are at the Duke's already. You have been hotly called for, when, being not at your lodging to be found, the Senate hath sent about 3 several quests to search you out.
'Tis well I am found by you. I will spend a word here in the house and go with you.
Ensign, what makes he here?
Faith, he tonight hath boarded a land carrack. If it prove lawful prize, he's made forever. He's married.
I don't understand.
Yeah, he's married.
To who?
Married to... come, Captain, will you go?
Have with you.
Here comes another troop to seek for you.
It is Brabantio, General. Be advised, he comes to bad intent.
Hala, stand there.
Signor, it is the Moor. Down with him, thief!
You, Roderigo, come, sir, I am for you.
Keep up your bright swords, for the dew will rust them. Good Signor, you shall command more with years than with your weapons.
Oh, thou foul thief! Where hast thou stowed my daughter? Damned as thou art, thou hast enchanted her. For I'll refer to me all things of sense, if she in chains of magic were not bound, whether a maid so tender, fair, and happy, so opposite to marriage that she shunned the wealthy, curled darlings of our nation, would ever have to incur a general mock, run from her guardage to the sooty bosom of such a thing as thou. To fear, not to delight. Judge me the world. If 'tis not gross in sense that thou hast practiced on her with foul charms, abused her delicate youth with drugs or minerals that weakens motion, I'll have disputed on. 'Tis probable, and palpable to thinking, I therefore apprehend and do attach thee, for an abuser of the world, a practicer of arts inhibited and out of warrant. Lay hold upon him. If he do resist, subdue him at his peril.
Hold your hands, both you of my inclining and the rest. Were it my cue to fight, I should have known it without a prompter. Whither will you that I go to answer this your charge?
To prison, till fit time of law and course of direct session call thee to answer.
What if I do obey? How may the Duke be therewith satisfied, whose messengers are here about my side, upon some present business of the state to bring me to him?
'Tis true, most worthy Signor. The Duke's in council, and your noble self, I am sure, is sent for.
How? The Duke in council? In this time of night? Bring him away. Mine's not an idle cause. The Duke himself, or any of my brothers of the state, cannot but feel this wrong as 'twere their own. For if such actions may have passage free, bond slaves and pagans shall our statesmen be.
Act 1, Scene 3. Enter Duke, senators, and officers.
There's no composition in these news that gives them credit.
Indeed, they are disproportioned. My letters say 107 galleys.
And mine 140.
And mine 200. But though they jump not on a just account, as in these cases where the aim reports tist off with difference, yet do they all confirm a Turkish fleet and bearing upon to Cyprus.
Nay, it is possible enough to judgment. I do not so secure me in the error, but the main article I do approve in fearful sense.
What ho! What ho! What ho!
A messenger from the galleys.
Now, what's the business?
The Turkish preparation makes for Rhodes, so I was bid report here to the stage by Signor Angelo.
How say you by this change?
This cannot be. By no say of reason, 'tis a pageant to keep us in false gaze, when we consider the importancy of Cyprus to the Turk, and let ourselves again but understand that as it more concerns the Turk than Rhodes, so may he with more facile question bear it, for that it stands not in such warlike brace, but although lacks the abilities that Rhodes is dressed in. If we make thought of this, we must not think the Turk is so unskillful, to leave that latest which concerns him first, neglecting an attempt of ease and gain to wake and wage a danger profitless.
Nay, in all confidence, he's not for Rhodes.
Here's more news.
The Ottomites, reverend and gracious, steering with due course toward the Isle of Rhodes, have there enjointed with them an after fleet.
Aye, so I thought. How many as you guess?
Of 30 sail, and now they do re-stem their backward course, bearing with frank appearance their purpose towards Cyprus. Signor Montogno, your trusty and most valiant servitor, with his free duty recommends you thus, and prays you to believe him.
'Tis certain then, for Cyprus. Marcus Lucius, is he not in town?
He's now in Florence.
Write from us to him. Post haste. Dispatch.
Here comes Barantio and the valiant Moor.
Valiant Othello. Valiant Othello, we must straight employ you against the general enemy Ottoman. I did not see you. Welcome, gentle signor. We lacked your counsel and your help tonight.
So did I yours. Good your grace pardon me. Neither my place nor aught I heard of business hath raised me from my bed, nor doth the general care take hold on me. For my particular grief is of so floodgate and o'erbearing nature that it engluts and swallows other sorrows, and it is still itself.
Why? What's the matter?
My daughter. Oh, my daughter.
Dead?
Aye, to me. She is abused, stolen from me, and corrupted by spells and medicines bought of mountebanks. For nature so preposterously to err, being not deficient, blind, or lame of sense, sans witchcraft could not.
Whoe'er he be, in that this foul proceeding hath thus beguiled your daughter of herself, and you of her, the bloody book of law, you shall yourself read in the bitter letter, after your own sense, yea, through our proper son, stood in your action.
Humbly I thank your grace. Here is the man, this Moor, whom now it seems your special mandate for the state affairs hath hither brought.
We are
We're very sorry for it.
sorry for it.
What, in your own part, can you say to this?
Nothing, but this is so.
Most potent, grave, and reverend signors, my very noble and approved good masters, that I've ta'en away this old man's daughter, it is most true. True, I have married her. The very head in front of my offending hath this extent no more. Rude am I in my speech, and little blessed with the soft phrase of peace. For since these arms of mine had 7 years' pith, till now some 9 moons wasted, they have used their dearest action in the tented field. And little of this great world can I speak, more than pertains to feats of broil and battle. And therefore, little shall I grace my cause in speaking for myself, yet by your gracious presence, I will a round, unvarnished tale deliver of my whole course of love. What drugs, what charms, what conjuration, and what mighty magic, for such proceeding I am charged withal. I won his daughter.
A maiden never bold, of spirit so still and quiet that her motion blushed at herself. And she, in spite of nature, of years, of country, credit, everything, to fall in love with what she feared to look on? It is a judgment maimed and most imperfect that will confess perfection so could err against all rules of nature, and must be driven to find out practices of cunning hell why this should be. I therefore vouch again that with some mixtures powerful o'er the blood, or with some dram conjured to this effect, he wrought upon her.
To vouch this is no proof without more wider and more overt test than these thin habits and poor likelihoods of modern seeming do prefer against him.
But Othello, speak. Did you by indirect and forced courses subdue and poison this young maid's affections? Or came it by request and such fair question as soul to soul afforded?
I do beseech you, send for the lady to the Sagittary and let her speak of me before her father. If you do find me foul in her report, the trust, the office I do hold of you, not only take away, but let your sentence even fall upon my life.
Fetch Desdemona hither.
Ancient, conduct them, you best know the place. Until she come, as truly as to heaven, I do confess the vices of my blood. So justly to your grave ears I'll present how I did thrive in this fair lady's love, and she in mine.
Say it, Othello.
Her father loved me, oft invited me, still questioned me the story of my life. From year to year, the battles, sieges, fortunes that I have passed, I ran it through, even from my boyish days to the very moment that he bade me tell it, wherein I spake of most disastrous chances, of moving accidents by flood and field, of hairbreadth escapes, either imminent deadly breach, of being taken by the insolent foe and sold to slavery, of my redemption thence, and portents in my travelers' histories, wherein of anters vast and deserts idle, rough quarries, rocks and hills whose heads touch heaven. It was my hint to speak, such was my process. And of the cannibals that each other eat, the anthropophagi and men whose heads do grow beneath their shoulders. This to hear would Desdemona seriously incline, but still the house affairs would draw her thence, which whenever as she could, with haste dispatch, she'd come again and with a greedy air devour up my discourse, which I observing took once a pliant hour, and found good means to draw from her a prayer of earnest heart, that I would all my pilgrimage dilate, whereof by parcel she had something heard, but not intentively. I did consent, and often did beguile her of her tears when I did speak of some distressful stroke that my youth suffered. My story being done, she gave me for my pain a world of sighs. She swore in faith, 'twas strange, 'twas passing strange, 'twas pitiful, 'twas wondrous pitiful. She wished that she had not heard it, yet she wished that heaven had made her such a man. She thanked me and bade me if I had a friend that loved her, I should but teach him how to tell my story, and that would woo her. Upon this hint I spake. She loved me for the dangers I had passed, and I loved her that she did pity them. This only is the witchcraft I have used. Here comes the lady, let her witness it.
I think this tale would win my daughter too. Good Brabantio, take up this mangled matter at the best. Men do their broken weapons rather use than their bare hands.
I pray you hear her speak. If she confess that she was half the wooer, destruction on my head if my bad blame light on the man. Come hither, gentle mistress. Do you perceive in all this noble company where most you owe obedience?
My noble father, I do perceive here a divided duty. To you I am bound for life and education. My life and education both do learn me how to respect you. You are the lord of duty. I am hitherto your daughter. But here's my husband. And so much duty as my mother showed to you, preferring you before her father, so much I challenge that I may profess due to the more, my lord.
God be with you. I have done. Please it your grace, on to these state affairs. I had rather to adopt a child than get it. Come hither, Moor. I here do give thee that with all my heart, which but thou hast already with all my heart. I would keep from thee. For your sake, Jewel, I am glad at soul I have no other child, for thy escape would teach me tyranny to hang clogs on them. I have done, my lord.
Let me speak like yourself and lay a sentence, which, as a grace or step, may help these lovers into your favor. When remedies are past, the griefs are ended by seeing the worst, which late on hopes depended. To mourn a mischief that is past and gone is the next way to draw new mischief on. What cannot be preserved when fortune takes, patience her injury a mockery makes. The robbed that smiles steals something from the thief. He robs himself that spends a bootless grief.
So let the Turk of Cyprus us beguile. We lose it not so long as we can smile. He bears the sentence well that nothing bears but the free comfort which from thence he hears. But he bears both the sentence and the sorrow that to pay grief must of poor patience borrow. These sentences to sugar or to gall, being strong on both sides, are equivocal. But words are words. I never yet did hear that the bruised heart was pierced through the ear. I humbly beseech you, proceed to the affairs of state.
The Turk with a most mighty preparation makes for Cyprus. Othello, the fortitude of the place is best known to you. And though we have there a substitute of most allowed sufficiency, yet opinion, a sovereign mistress of effects, throws a more safer voice on you. You must therefore be content to slubber the gloss of your new fortunes with this more stubborn and boisterous expedition.
The tyrant custom most grave senators hath made the flinty and steel couch of war my thrice driven bed of down. I do agonize the natural and prompt alacrity I find in hardness, and do undertake this present wars against the Ottomites. Most humbly, therefore, bending to your state, I crave fit disposition for my wife, due reference of place and exhibition, with such accommodation and besort as levels with her breeding.
Why, at her father's.
I will not have it so.
Nor I.
Nor would I there reside, to put my father in impatient thoughts by being in his eye. Most gracious Duke, to my unfolding lend your prosperous ear, and let me find a charter in your voice to assist my simpleness.
What would you, Desdemona?
That I love the more to live with him, my downright violence and storm of fortunes may trumpet to the world, my heart subdued into the very quality of my lord. I saw Othello's visage in his mind, and to his honors and his valiant parts did I my soul and fortunes consecrate. So that, dear lords, if I be left behind a moth of peace and he go to the war, the rights for why I love him are bereft me, and I a heavy interim shall support by his dear absence. Let me go with him.
Let her have your voice. Vouch with me, heaven, I therefore beg it not to please the palate of my appetite, nor to comply with heat, the young effects in me defunct, and proper satisfaction, but to be free and bounteous to her mind. And heaven defend your good souls, that you think I will your serious and great business scant, for she is with me. No, when light-winged toys of feathered Cupid steal with wanton dullness my speculative and officed instruments, that my disports corrupt and taint my business. Let housewives make a skillet of my helm, and all indign and base adversaries make head against my estimation.
Be it as you shall privately determine, either for her stay or going. The fair cries haste, and speed must answer it.
You must away tonight.
With all my heart.
At 9 in the morning, here we'll meet again. Othello, leave some officer behind, and he shall our commission bring to you, with such things else of quality and respect as doth import you.
So please your grace. My ancient, a man he is of honesty and trust, to his conveyance I assign my wife, with what else needful your good grace shall think to be sent after me.
Let it be so. Good night to everyone, and noble Signor, if virtue no delighted beauty lack, your son-in-law is far more fair than black.
Adieu, brave Moor. Use Desdemona well.
Look to her more, if thou hast eyes to see. She has deceived her father, and may thee.
My life upon her faith. Honest Iago, my Desdemona must I leave to thee. I prithee, let thy wife attend on her, and bring them after in the best advantage. Come, Desdemona, I have but an hour of love of worldly matters and direction to spend with thee. We must obey the time.
Iago,
What sayest thou, noble heart?
what will I do, thinkst thou?
Why, go to bed and sleep.
I will incontinently drown myself.
If thou dost, I shall never love thee after. Why, thou silly gentleman.
It is silliness to live when to live is torment. And then have we a prescription to die when death is our physician.
Oh, villainous! I have looked upon the world 4 times 7 years, and since I could distinguish betwixt a benefit and injury, I never found man that knew how to love himself. Ere I would say I would drown myself for the love of a guinea hen, I would change my humanity with a baboon.
What should I do? I confess it is my shame to be so fond, but it is not in my virtue to amend it.
Virtue? A fig! 'Tis in ourselves that we are thus or thus. Our bodies are our gardens, to the which our wills are gardeners. So that if you will plant nettles or sow lettuce, set hyssop and weed up thyme, supply it with one gender of herbs or distract it with many, either to have it sterile with idleness or manured with industry, why the power and corrigible authority of this lies in our wills. If the balance of our lives had not one scale of reason to poise another of sensuality, the blood and baseness of our natures would conduct us to most preposterous conclusions. But we have reason to call our raging motions, our carnal stings, our unbited lusts, whereof I take this that you call love to be a sect or scion.
It cannot be.
It is merely a lust of the blood and a permission of the will. Come, be a man. Drown thyself. Drown cats and blind puppies. I have professed me thy friend, and I confess thee knit to thy deserving with cables of perdurable toughness. I could never better stead thee than now. Put money in thy purse. Follow thou the wars. Defeat thy favour with a usurped beard. I say, put money in thy purse. It cannot be that Desdemona should long continue her love to the Moor. Put money in thy purse, nor he his to her. It was a violent commencement in her, and thou shalt see an answerable sequestration. Put but money in thy purse. These Moors are changeable in their wills. Fill thy purse with money. The food that to him now is luscious as locusts shall be to him shortly as bitter as Colin Quintida. She must change for youth. When she is sated with his body, she will find the heir of her choice. Therefore, put money in thy purse. If thou wilt needs damn thyself, do it a more delicate way than drowning. Make all the money thou canst. If sanctimony and a frail vow betwixt an erring barbarian and a super subtle Venetian be not too hard for my wit and all the tribe of hell, thou shalt enjoy her. Therefore, make money. A pox of drowning thyself, it is clean out of the way. Seek thou rather to be hanged encompassing thy joy than to be drowned and go without her.
Wilt thou be fast to my hopes if I depend on the issue?
Thou art sure of me. Go make money. I have told thee often, and I retell thee again and again, I hate the Moor. My cause is hearted, thine hath no less reason. Let us be conjunctive in our revenge against him. If thou canst cockle him, thou dost thyself a pleasure and me a sport. There are many events in the womb of time which will be delivered. Traverse, go, provide thy money. We will have more of this tomorrow. Adieu.
Where shall we meet in the morning?
At my lodging.
I'll be with thee betimes.
Go to, farewell. Do you hear, Roderigo?
What say you?
No more of drowning, do you hear?
I am charged.
Go to, farewell. Put money enough in your purse.
I'll sell all my land.
Thus do I ever make my fool my purse. For mine own gain knowledge should profane, if I should time expend with such a snipe, but for my sport and profit. I hate them all, and 'tis thought abroad that twixt my sheets has done my office. I know not if it be true, but I, for mere suspicion in that kind, will do as if it is for surety. He holds me well, the better shall my purpose work on him. Cassio's a proper man. Let me see now. To get his place and plume up my will in double knavery. How? Let's see. After some time, to abuse Othello's ear that he is too familiar with his wife. Well, he hath a person and smooth disposed to be suspected, framed to make women false. The Moor is of a free and open nature that thinks men honest that but seem to be so, and will as tenderly be led by the nose as asses are. I have it engendered. Hell and night must bring this monstrous birth to the world's light.
Act 2, Scene 1, enter Montano and two gentlemen. What from the cape can you discern at sea?
Nothing at all. It is a high-wrought flood. I cannot twixt the heaven and the main descry a sail.
Methinks the wind hath spoke aloud at land. A fuller blast ne'er shook our battlements. If it had ruffianed so upon the sea, what ribs of oak, when mountains melt on them, can hold the mortise? What shall we hear of this?
A segregation of the Turkish fleet. For do but stand upon the foaming shore, the chided billow seems to pelt the clouds. The wind shakes surge with high and monstrous mane, seems to cast water on the burning bear, and quench the guards of their ever-fixed pole. I never did like the molestation view of the chafed flood.
If that the Turkish fleet be not ensheltered and embayed, they are drowned. It is impossible to bear it out.
News, lads! Our wars are done! The desperate tempest has so banged the Turks that their descent halts. A noble ship of Venice has seen a grievous wreck and servants on most part of their fleet.
How? Is this true?
The ship is here put in, a Veronesa, Michael Cassio, lieutenant to the warlike Moor Othello, is come on shore. The Moor himself at sea is in full commission here for Cyprus.
I am glad on it. 'Tis a worthy governor.
But the same Cassio, though he speak of comfort touching the Turkish loss, yet he looks sadly and prays the Moor be safe, for they were parted with foul and violent tempests.
Pray heaven he be, for I have served him, and the man commands like a full soldier. That's to the seaside, ho, as well to see the vessel that's come in as to throw out our eyes for brave Othello, even till we make the main and the aerial blue and indistinct regard.
Come, let's do so, for every minute is expectancy of more arrivants.
Thanks, you valiant of this warlike isle, that so approve the more. Let the heavens give him defense against the elements, for I have lost him on a dangerous sea.
Is he well shipped?
His bark is stoutly timbered, and his pilot a very expert and approved allowance. Therefore my hopes, not surfeited to death, stand in bold cure.
A sail! A sail! A sail!
What noise?
The town is empty. On the brow of the sea stand ranks of people, and they cry, "A sail!"
My hopes do shape him for the governor.
They do discharge their shot of courtesy. Our friends at last.
I pray you, sir, go forth and give us truth who 'tis that is arrived.
Shall.
But, good lieutenant, is your general wived?
As most fortunately, he hath achieved a maid that paragons description and wild fame, one that excels the quirks of blazoning pens, and in the essential vesture of creation doth tire the engineer. How now? Who was put in?
'Tis one Iago, ancient to the general.
Has had most favorable and happy speed. Tempests themselves, high seas and howling winds, the guttered rocks and congregated sands, traders in steep to clog the guiltless keel, as having sense of beauty, do omit their mortal natures, letting go safely by the divine Desdemona.
What is she?
Oh, she that I spake of, our great captain's captain, left in the conduct of bold Iago, whose footing here anticipates our thoughts a se'nnight speed. Great Jove, Othello guard, and swell his sail with thine own powerful breath, that he may bless this bay with his tall ship, and make love's quick pants and Desdemona's arms give renewed fire to our extincted spirits, and bring all Cyprus comfort. Behold, the riches of the ship is come on shore. You men of Cyprus, let her have your knees. And hail to thee, lady, and the grace of heaven before, behind thee, and on every hand, and wheel thee around.
I thank you, valiant Cassio. What tidings can you tell me of my lord?
He's not yet arrived. nor know I aught but that he's well and will shortly be here.
Oh, but I fear. How lost you company?
The great contention of sea and skies parted our fellowship.
A sail! A sail!
But hark, a sail.
They give their greetings to the citadel. This likewise is a friend.
See for the news. Good ensign, you are welcome, and welcome, mistress. Let it not gall your patience, good Iago, that I extend my manners. 'Tis my breeding that gives me this bold show of courtesy.
Sir, would she give you so much of her lips as of her tongue she oft bestows on me, you would have enough.
Alas, she has no speech.
In faith, too much. I find it still when I have list to sleep. Marry, before your ladyship, I grant, she puts her tongue a little in her heart, and chides with thinking.
You have little cause to say so.
Come on, you are pictures out of door. Bells in your parlours, wildcats in your kitchens, saints in your injuries, devils being offended, players in your hussifry, and hussifs in your beds.
Oh, fie upon thee, slanderer.
Nay, it is true, or else I am a Turk. You rise to play and go to bed to work.
You shall not write my praise.
No, let me not.
What wouldst write of me if thou should praise me?
Oh, gentle lady, do not put me to it, for I am nothing if not critical.
Come on, essay. There one gone to the harbor?
Aye, madam.
I am not merry, but I do beguile the thing I am by seeming otherwise. Come, how wouldst thou praise me?
I am about it, but indeed my invention comes from my pate as birdlime does from frieze. It plucks out brain and all. But my muse labours, and thus she is delivered. If she be fair and wise, fairness and wit, the one for use, the other useth it.
Well praised. How if she be black and witty?
No, if she be black and therefore have a wit, she'll find a white that shall her blackness hit.
Worse and worse.
How if fair and foolish?
She never yet was foolish, that was fair, for even her folly helped her to an heir.
These are old fond paradoxes to make fools laugh in the alehouse. What miserable praise hast thou for her that's foul and foolish?
There's none so foul and foolish thereunto, but does foul pranks which fair and wise ones do.
Oh, heavy ignorance! Thou praisest the worst best. But what praise couldst thou bestow on a deserving woman indeed, one that in the very authority of her merit did justly put on the vouch of very malice itself?
She that was ever fair and never proud, had tongue at will and yet was never loud, never lacked gold and yet went never gay, fled from her wish and yet said, now I may. She that being angered, her revenge being nigh, bade her wrong stay and her displeasure fly. She that in wisdom never was so frail to change the cod's head for the salmon's tail. She that could think and ne'er disclose her mind, see suitors following and not look behind. She was a wit, if ever such wit were.
To do what?
Suckle fools and chronicle small beer.
Oh, most lame and impotent conclusion. Do not learn of him, Amelia, though he be thy husband. How say you, Cassio? Is he not a most profane and liberal counselor?
He speaks home, madam. You may relish him more in the soldier than in the scholar.
Takes her by the palm. Aye, well said, whisper. With as little a web as this, I will ensnare as great a fly as Cassio. Aye, smile upon her, do. I will jive thee in thine own courtship. Oh, you say true, so indeed. If such tricks as these strip you out of your lieutenantry, it had been better you had not kissed your 3 fingers so oft, which now again you are most apt to play the sir in. Very good, well kissed, and excellent courtesy. 'Tis so indeed. Yet again your fingers to your lips. Would they were clyster pipes for your sake. The more I know his trumpet.
'Tis truly so.
Let's meet him and receive him.
Lo, where he comes.
Oh, my fair warrior,
My dear Othello.
it gives me wonder great is my content to see you here before me. Oh, my soul's joy. If after every tempest comes such calms, may the winds blow till they have waked the death, and let the laboring bark climb hills of seas Olympus high, and duck again as low as hails from heaven. If it were now to die, 'twere now to be most happy, for I fear my soul hath her contempt so absolute that no other comfort like this succeeds an unknown fate.
The heavens forbid, but that our loves and comforts should increase even as our days do grow.
Amen to that, sweet powers. I cannot speak enough of this content. It stops me here. It is too much joy. And this, the greatest discords be that e'er our hearts shall make.
Oh, you are well tuned now. But I'll set down the pegs that make this music as honest as I am.
Come, let us to castle. News, friends, our wars are done. The Turks are drowned. How does my old acquaintance of this isle? Honey, you shall be well desired in Cyprus. I have found great love amongst them. Oh, my sweet, I prattle out of fashion, and I dote in mine own comforts. I prithee, good Iago, go to the bay and disembark my coffers. Bring thou the master to the citadel. He is a good one, and his worthiness does challenge much respect. Come, Desdemona, once more well met at Cyprus.
Do thou meet me presently at the harbour. Come hither. If thou beest valiant, as they say, base men being in love have then a nobility in their natures more than is native to them, list me. The lieutenant tonight watches on the court of guard. First, I must tell thee, Desdemona is directly in love with him.
With him? Why, 'tis not possible.
Lay thy finger thus, and let thy soul be instructed. Mark me with what violence she first loved the Moor, but for bragging and telling her fantastical lies, and will she love him still for prating? Let not thy discreet heart think it. Her eye must be fed, and what delight shall she have to look on the devil? When the blood is made dull with the act of sport, there should be again to inflame it, and to give satiety of fresh appetite, loveliness in favour, sympathy in years, manners and beauties, all of which the Moor is defective in. Now, for want of these required convenience, her delicate tenderness will find itself abused, begin to heave the gorge, disrelish and abhor the Moor. Very nature will instruct her in it, and compel her to some second choice. Now, sir, this granted, as it is a most pregnant and unforced position, who stands so eminent in the degree of this fortune as Cassio does? A knave very voluble, no further conscionable than in putting on the mere form of civil and humane seeming for the better compassing of his salt and most hidden loose affection. Why none? Why none? A slipper and subtle knave, a finder out of occasions, that has an eye, can stamp and counterfeit advantages, though true advantage never present itself, a devilish knave. Besides, the knave is handsome, young, and hath all those requisites in him that folly and green minds look after. A pestilent, complete knave, and the woman hath found him already.
Cannot believe that in her. She's full of most blessed condition.
Blessed fig's end. The wine she drinks is made of grapes. If she had been blessed, she would never have loved the Moor. Blessed pudding. Didst thou not see her paddle with the palm of his hand? Didst not mark that?
Yes, that I did, but that was but courtesy.
Lechery by this hand. an index and obscure prologue to the history of lust and foul thoughts. They met so near with their lips that their breaths embraced together. Villainous thoughts, Roderigo. When these mutualities so marshal the way, hard at hand comes the master and main exercise, the incorporate conclusion. Pish. But sir, be you ruled by me. I have brought you from Venice. Watch you tonight. For the command, I'll lay it upon you. Cassio knows you not. I'll not be far from you. Do you find some occasion to anger Cassio, either by speaking too loud or tainting his discipline, or from what other course you please, which the time shall more favourably minister?
Well,
Sir, he is rash and very sudden in choler, and haply may strike at you. Provoke him that he may, for even out of that will I cause these of Cyprus to mutiny, whose qualification shall come into no true taste again, but by the displanting of Cassio. So shall you have a shorter journey to your desires, by the means I shall then have to procure them, and the impediment most profitably removed, without the which there were no expectation of our prosperity.
I will do this, if you can bring it to any opportunity.
I warrant thee. Meet me by and by at the citadel. I must fetch his necessities ashore. Farewell.
Adieu.
That Cassio loves her, I do well believe it. That she loves him, 'tis apt and of great credit. The more, how be it that I endure him not? He is of a constant loving nature, and I dare think he'll prove to Desdemona a most dear husband. Now I do love her too, not out of absolute lust, though peradventure I stand accountant for as great a sin, but partly led to diet my revenge, for that I do suspect the lusty Moor hath leaped into my seat, the thought whereof doth like a poisonous mineral gnaw my inwards, and nothing can or shall content my soul till I am even with him, wife for wife, or, failing so, yet that I put the Moor at least into a jealousy so strong that judgment cannot cure. Which thing to do? If this poor trash of Venice, whom I trace for his quick hunting, stand the putting on, I'll have our Michael Cassio on the hip, abuse him to the more in the rank garb, for I fear Cassio with my nightcap too. Make the Moor thank me, love me, and reward me for making him egregiously an ass, and practising upon his peace and quiet even to madness. 'Tis here, but yet confused. Knavery's plain face is never seen till used.
Act 2, Scene 2. Enter Othello's herald with a proclamation.
It is Othello's pleasure, our noble and valiant general, that upon certain tidings now arrived, importing the mere perdition of the Turkish fleet, every man put himself into triumph, some to dance, some to make bonfires, each man to what sport and revels his edition leads him. For, besides these beneficial news, it is the celebration of his nuptial. So much was his pleasure should be proclaimed. All offices are open, and there is full liberty of feasting from this pleasant present hour of 5 till the bell hath tolled 11. Heaven bless the Isle of Cyprus and our noble general Othello.
Act 2, Scene 3. Enter Othello, Desdemona, Cassio, and attendants.
Good Michael, look to the guard tonight. Let's teach ourselves that honorable stop, not to outsport discretion.
Iago hath direction what to do, but notwithstanding, with my personal eye will I look to it.
Iago is most honest. Michael, good night. Tomorrow, with your earliest, let me have speech with you. Come, my dear love. The purchase made, the fruits are to ensue, that profits yet to come between me and you. Good night.
Ah, welcome, Iago. We must to the watch.
Not this hour, Lieutenant. 'Tis not yet 10 of the clock. Our general cast us thus early for the love of his Desdemona, who, let us not therefore blame, he hath not yet made wanton the night with her, and she is sport for Jove.
She is a most exquisite lady.
And I'll warrant her full of game.
Indeed, she is a most fresh and delicate creature.
Oh, what an eye she has. Methinks it sounds a parley to provocation.
An inviting eye, yet methinks right modest.
And when she speaks, it is an alarum to love.
She is indeed perfection.
Well, happiness to their sheets. Come, Lieutenant, I have a stoup of wine, and here without are a brace of Cyprus gallants that would fain have a measure to the health of Blackmore.
Not tonight, good Iago. I have a very poor and unhappy brains for drinking. I could well wish courtesy would invent some other custom of entertainment.
Oh, they are our friends. But 1 cup, I'll drink for you.
I have drunk but 1 cup tonight, and that was craftily qualified too. Behold what innovation it makes here. I am unfortunate in the infirmity and dare not task my weakness with any more.
What, man? 'Tis a night of revels. The gallants desire it.
Where are they?
Here at the door. I pray you, call them in.
I'll do it, but it dislikes me.
If I can fasten but 1 cup upon him, with that which he hath drunk tonight already, he'll be as full of quarrel and offence as my young mistress's dog. Now, my sick fool, Roderigo, with whom hath turned almost the wrong side out, to Desdemona hath tonight caroused potations pottle deep, and he's to watch. 3 else of Cyprus, noble swelling spirits that hold their honours in a wary distance, the very elements of this warlike isle, have I tonight flustered with flowing cups, and they to the watch too. Now, mongst this flock of drunkards, am I to put out Cassio in some action that may offend the isle? But here they come. If consequence do approve but my dream, my boat sails freely, both with wind and stream.
For God, they've given me a rouse already.
Good faith, the little one, not pass a pint, as I am a soldier.
Some wine, ho! And let me the cannikin clink, clink, and let me the cannikin clink. A soldier's a man, our life's but a span. Why then let a soldier drink some wine, boys?
For God, an excellent song.
I learned it in England, where indeed they are most potent in potting. Your Dane, your German, your swag-bellied Hollander, drink, ho! I'm nothing to your English.
Is your Englishman so exquisite in his drinking?
Why, he drinks you with facility, your Dane dead drunk. He sweats not to overthrow your Almain. He gives your Hollander a vomit ere the next bottle can be filled.
To the health of our general.
I am for it, Lieutenant, and I'll do you justice.
Oh, sweet England! King Stephen was a worthy peer. His breeches cost him but a crown. He held them 6pence all too dear. With that he called a tailor lown. He was a wit of high renown, and thou art but of low degree. 'Tis pride that pulls the country down. Then take thy old cloak about thee. Some wine, ho!
For God, this is a more exquisite song than the other.
Will you hear it again?
No. For I hold him to be unworthy of his place that does those things. God's above all, and there be souls must be saved, and there be souls must not be saved.
It is true, good lieutenant.
And for mine own part, and no offense to the general, nor any man of quality, I hope to be saved.
And so do I too, Lieutenant.
But by your leave, not before me. Lieutenant is to be saved before the end sentence. Oh, God, let's have no more of this. Let's to our affairs. And God forgive us our sins. Mendelssohn, gentlemen, let's look to our business. And do not think, gentlemen, I am drunk. No, this is my ensign, right? This is my right hand, and well, this is my left hand. I am not drunk now. I can stand well enough, and I can speak well enough.
Excellent.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah. Right. Very well then. You must not think that I'm drunk. Hmm?
no.
To the platform, masters. Come, let's set the watch.
You see, this fellow that is gone before, he's a soldier fit to stand by Caesar and give direction, and do but see his vice. 'Tis to his virtue a just equinox, the one as long as the other. 'Tis pity of him. I fear the trust Othello puts in him, on some odd occasion of his infirmity, will shake this island.
But is he often thus?
No, 'tis ever the prologue to his sleep. He'll watch the horologe a double set if drink rock not his cradle.
It were well the general were put in mind of it. Perhaps he sees it not, or his gentle nature prizes the virtue that appears in Cassio and looks not on his evils. Is not this true?
How now, Roderigo? I pray you, after the lieutenant, go!
And 'tis great pity that the noble Moor should hazard such a place as his own second with one of an graft infirmary. It was an honest action to say so to the Moor.
Not I, for this fair island. I do love Cassio well, and would do much to cure him of this evil.
Help! Help!
But hark, what noise?
Zoons, you rogue, you rascal!
What's the matter, Lieutenant?
A knave, teach me my duty. I'll beat the knave into a twig and bottle.
Beat me?
Dost thou prate, rogue?
Ah!
Nay, good lieutenant, I pray you, sir, hold your hand.
Ah, you let me go, sir, or I'll knock you or the mazzard.
Come, you're drunk.
Away, I say.
Drunk!
Go out and cry a mutiny. Nay, good lieutenant, God's will, gentlemen, help, ho, lieutenant, sir, Montano, sir, help, masters, here's a goodly watch indeed. Oh, who's that which rings the bell? Diabolo, ho, the town will rise. God's will, lieutenant, hold, you will be shamed forever.
What is the matter here?
Zoons, I bleed still. I am hurt to the death. He dies.
Hold for your lives.
Hold, ho, lieutenant, sir, Montano, gentlemen. Have you forgot all sense of place and duty? Hold, the general speaks to you. Hold for shame.
Why, how now, ho! Well, from whence arises this? Are we turned Turks, and to ourselves do that which heaven hath forbid the Ottomites? For Christian shame put up this barbarous brawl. He that serves next to carve for his own rage holds his soul light. He dies upon his motion. Silence that dreadful bell. It frights the owl from her propriety. What is the matter, masters? Honest Iago, that looks dead with grieving. Speak. Who began this? On thy love I charge thee.
Do not know. Friends all but now, even now, in quarter and in terms like bride and groom divesting them for bed. And then but now, as if some planet had unwitted men, swords out and tilting one at other's breast, in opposition bloody. I cannot speak any beginning to this peevish odds, and would in action glorious I had lost those legs that brought me to a part of it.
How comes it, Michael? Are you thus forgot?
I pray you pardon me. I cannot speak.
Worthy Montano, you will wont be civil. The gravity and stillness of your youth the world hath noted, and your name is great in mouths of wisest censure. What's the matter that you unlace your reputation thus and spend your rich opinion for the name of a night brawler? Give me answer to it.
Worthy Othello, I am hurt to danger. Your officer, Iago, can confirm me while I spare speech, which something now offends me. Of all that I do know, nor know I ought, by men that said or done amiss that night, unless self-charity be something of vice, and to defend ourselves be a sin when violence assails us.
Now, by heaven, my blood begins my safer guides to rule, and passion, my best judgment, colleague essays to lead the way. Zooms, if I stir or do but lift this arm, the best of you shall sink in my rebuke. Give me to know how this foul rout began, who set it on, and he that is approved in this offense, though he be twinned with me both at birth, shall lose me. What, in a town of war, yet wild? The people's hearts brimful of fear, to manage private and domestic quarrel in night and on the court and guard of safety? 'Tis monstrous, Iago. Who began't?
If partially fined or leagued in office, thou dost deliver more or less than truth. Thou art no soldier.
Touch me not so near. I had rather have this tongue cut from my mouth than it should do offense to Michael Cassio. Yet I persuade myself to speak the truth. Shall nothing wrong him? Thus it is, General. Montano and myself being in speech, there comes a fellow crying out for help, and Cassio following him with determined sword to execute upon him. Sir, this gentleman steps into Cassio and entreats his pause. Myself, the crying fellow, did pursue, lest by his clamour, as it so fell out, the town might fall in fright. He swift of foot outran my purpose, and I returned the rather, for that I heard the clink and fall of swords, and Cassio high in oath, which till tonight I ne'er might say before. When I came back, for this was brief, I found them close together at blow and thrust, even as again they were when you yourself did part them. More of this matter I cannot report. But men are men. The best sometimes forget. Though Cassio did some little wrong to him, as men in rage strike those that wish them best, surely Cassio, I believe, received from him that fled some strange indignity which patience could not pass.
I know, Iago. Thy honesty and love doth mince this matter, making it light to Cassio. Cassio, I love thee, but nevermore be officer mine. Look, if my gentle love be not raised up, I'll make thee an example.
What is the matter, dear?
All's well now, sweeting. Come away to bed. Sir, for your hurts, myself will be your surgeon. Lead him off. Iago, look with care about the town and silence those whom this vile brawl distracted. Come, Desdemona. 'Tis the soldier's life to have their balmy slumbers waked with strife.
What, are you hurt, Lieutenant?
I passed all surgery.
Marry, God forbid.
Reputation! Reputation! Reputation. I have lost my reputation. I have lost the immortal part of myself, and what remains is bestial. Reputation, Iago! My reputation.
As I am an honest man, I thought you'd receive some bodily wound. There is more sense in that than in reputation. Reputation is an idle and most false imposition, oft got without merit and lost without deserving. You have lost no reputation at all, unless you repute yourself such a loser. What man? There are ways to recover the general again. You are but now cast in his mood, a punishment more in policy than in malice, even so as one would beat his offenceless dog to affright an imperious lion. Sue to him again, and he's yours.
I will rather sue to be despised than to deceive so good a commander with so slight, so drunken, and so indiscreet an officer. Drunk! And speak parrot, and squabble, swagger, swear, discourse fustian with one's own shadow. Oh, thou invisible spirit of wine, if thou hast no name to be known by, let us call thee devil.
What was he that you followed with your sword? What had he done to you?
I know not.
Is it possible?
I remember a mass of things, but nothing distinctly. A quarrel, nothing wherefore. That men should put an enemy in their mouths to steal away their brains. That we should, with joy, pleasance, revel, and applause, transform ourselves into beasts.
Why, but you are now well enough. How came you thus recovered?
Oh, it hath pleased the devil drunkenness to give place to the devil wrath. One unperfectness shows me another, to make me frankly despise myself.
Come, you are too severe a moraler. As the time, the place, and the condition of this country stands, I could hardly wish this had not so befallen. But since it is as it is, mend it for your own good.
I will ask him for my place again. He shall tell me I am a drunkard. Had I as many mouths as Hydra, such an answer would stop them all. To be now a sensible man, by and by a fool, presently a beast. Every inordinate cup is unblessed, and the ingredient is a devil.
Come, come. Good wine is a good familiar creature, if it be well used. Exclaim no more against it. And good lieutenant, I think you think I love you.
When I have well approved it, sir. I drunk.
You or any man living may be drunk at a time, man. I'll tell you what you should do. Our general's wife is now the general. I may say so in this respect, for that he hath devoted and given up himself to the contemplation, mark, and denotement of her parts and graces. Confess yourself freely to her. Importune her to help to put you in your place again. She is so free, so kind, so apt, so blessed a disposition that she holds it advice in her goodness not to do more than she is requested. This broken joint between you and her husband entreat her to splinter, and my fortunes against any lay worth naming, this crack of your love shall grow stronger than it was before.
You advise me well?
I protest in the sincerity of love and honest kindness.
I think it freely. And betimes in the morning I will beseech the virtuous Desdemona to undertake for me. God, I am desperate of my fortunes if they check me here.
You are in the right. Good night, Lieutenant. I must to the watch.
Good night, honest Iago.
And what's he then that says I play the villain? When this advice is free I give, and honest, probable to thinking, and indeed the course to win the more again. For 'tis most easy the inclining Desdemona to subdue in any honest suit. She's framed as fruitful as the free elements. And then for her to win the more were to announce his baptism. All seals and symbols of redeemed sin. His soul is so infettered to her love that she may make, unmake, do what she list, even as her appetite shall play the god with his weak function. How then am I a villain to counsel Cassio to this parallel course directly to his good? Divinity of hell. When devils will their blackest sins put on, they do suggest at first with heavenly shows, as I do now. For whilst this honest fool plies Desdemona to repair his fortunes, and she for him pleads strongly to the Moor, I'll pour this pestilence into his ear, that she repeals him for her body's lust, and by how much she strives to do him good, she shall undo her credit with the Moor. So shall I turn her virtue into pitch, and out of her own goodness make the net that shall enmesh all. How now, Roderigo?
I do follow here in the chase, not like a hound that hunts, but one that fills up the cry. My money is almost spent. I have been tonight exceedingly well cudgeled, and I think the issue will be I shall have so much experience for my pains, and so, with no money at all and a little more wit, return again to Venice.
How poor are they that have not patience? What wound did ever heal but by degrees? Thou knowest we work by wit and not by witchcraft, and wit depends on dilatory time. Does not go well. Cassio hath beaten thee, and thou by that small hurt hast cashiered Cassio. Though other things grow fair against the sun, yet fruits that blossom first will first ripe. Content thyself a while. Oh, by the mass, 'tis morning. Pleasure and action make the hours seem short. Retire thee. Go where thou art billeted. Away, I say. Thou shalt know more hereafter. Nay, get thee gone. 2 things are to be done. My wife must move for Cassio to her mistress. I'll set her on. Myself, the while, to draw the Moor apart and bring him jump when he may Cassio find. Soliciting his wife. Aye, that's the way. I'll not device by coldness and delay.